damn police station? Storm brought him in. Could be infested with him by now.
If you want to survive the night, we're gonna have to find a way to get along.
Keep an eye on him. That's a bona fide cocktail right there.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2023 action horror The Flood. The film is directed by Brandon Slagle and it stars Casper Van Dien, Nicky Whelan and Louis Mandelaar. Now the film, it's a creature feature. It follows a sheriff at a local sheriff's office that is being flooded out, basically. There's a huge storm that's going on. Some prisoners are being transferred. They get caught in the storm and they ring ahead to the sheriff's station to ask if they can essentially stay there overnight where it's safe, putting these prisoners in the cells. The sheriff reluctantly agrees, but what they don't know is that a bunch of crocs have managed to get into the police station and start running riot and munching on the prisoners, etc. Right. What are my thoughts on The Flood? Well, alligator films, crocodile films, you know, have kind of surged in popularity. I mean, they've always kind of been fairly popular films, but that one that came out a couple of years ago, and the name escapes me now, you know, that was fairly high budgeted and did quite well at the cinema. You know, they've been kind of churning them out once again. And this is exactly what if you watch the trailer for this is exactly what you would expect it to be. It's a low budget, half decent attempt to give us a fairly entertaining action horror. Does it deliver? That is really up for debate. I think there's aspects of this film that are appallingly bad, but it's also a film that is, you know, relatively entertaining at times. What I like about films like this is when they don't necessarily take themselves massively serious. And while this is not, you know, tongue-in-cheek or anything, and it's not a comedy by any stretch of the imagination, there are moments in the film where it's just so ridiculously stupid, you just got to kind of chuckle to yourself and just think, well, okay, if this is the kind of film we're going to get, let's give it a go. Within the first, I don't know, 5 minutes or so of this film, there's an awful scene where this alligator munches on somebody and then it spins, but it's sped up so fast, it's like a sketch from the Benny Hill show. It is just hilariously bad, and from that moment on, it pretty much sets the scene for what you can expect from this film. Terrible dialogue, cheesy as hell, awful effects at times, and just unbelievable feats of athleticism from these alligators. I mean, there's one scene in this film where the characters have kind of climbed up through a hatch. So and I'm being generous here, let's say it's 8 feet up. So they've had to kind of use like a rope thing and climb up into this hatch to escape these crocodiles that you know, from the floor below that's all completely flooded. So let's say 8 feet. It's probably higher, but we'll call it 8 feet. I'll be generous. And we get one of these alligators jumping up through the hatch to pull somebody down. So it's not a film you can take seriously at all. You know, it's full of cliches. You know, the prisoners are all cliches. You've got the prisoner with the Nazi tattoo on. You've got you've got the Casper Van Dien character that's like the, you know, crook with a heart sort of thing. He's the ex-military guy who doesn't really belong in prison. He's a man of honor, so on and so forth. You've got Louis Mandelaar's character, who essentially breaks into this police station to try and break the Casper Van Dien character out because he knows where some stash is being held, and Louis Mandelaar's character wants that stash. So you've got all these dynamics going on. You've got these prisoners that are causing chaos, and you've got Louis Mandelaar's team that are coming into the police station causing chaos. And then you've got these alligators, and I think there's 4 of them in total, you know, swimming around this police station that's completely flooded, causing chaos. So, I mean, there are dynamics there that can work to some degree, and you do get plenty of scenes of people getting munched. They're just not very good in how they are presented to you. The effects at times are pretty bad, and like I say, it's sped up terribly sometimes. Just when you see like the clips of the alligator just kind of moving along and then growling at people and stuff, that looks okay. It's when it actually attacks, it's just terrible. And to say that Nikki Whelan, who essentially here is the lead character, she's like the sheriff. She's a very strong, independent woman in this film. She's given barely anything to do. And you could say that about all the characters. It's almost like there's too many characters here. And films like this really generally work when you are actually worried about the characters. You want certain ones to survive. Well, because most of these are prisoners and most of them are not very nice people, which the film makes it absolutely clear, you actually look forward to them getting munched. So it kind of doesn't give you that, oh, who's next sort of thing, because you don't really care. The Casper Van Dien character is fleshed out terribly. They give him this backstory, like I say, of, ex-military guy in Afghanistan. He was dishonorably discharged. He kind of fell into crime sort of thing. And I don't have a problem with Casper Van Dien. I actually think quite a lot of the times he's decent in a lot of these low-budget films, but it's a very monotone performance by him here. There's no charisma. Louis Mandylor, again, I like Louis Mandylor as well. I think he's good in a lot of these movies that I watch, but occasionally you'll watch him in movies and you just think, the film didn't need him. And again, I don't think the film needed him. And I don't think he plays a strong villain sometimes. I think I have seen him play villainous roles and you're thinking, yeah, that was decent, but it just didn't work here. He didn't fully commit to the villainous role. So we've got a lot of characters here that just aren't fleshed out enough, so you don't care about them. The horror aspects, I mean, it does show, bitten off limbs here and there and what have you, but it doesn't get you on the edge of your seat. You're not necessarily scared for any of the characters, really. It just kind of makes you chuckle. So it is really one of those films that you can put on with your mates with a few cans, ordering a pizza, and have a chuckle and a giggle at it. It's not unwatchable or anything like that. It's just a low-budget B-movie creature feature. And if you go into this film with those kind of expectations, you'll probably come out of it enjoying it a little bit more if you went into it with high expectations. So yeah, that's my review for The Flood. I hope you enjoyed the review. If you did, please click the like button. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, and I will of course be back with more content on the channel very, very soon.